And Catherine Connolly.
Minister, I'm afraid I have no choice but to follow up on the Caranua situation. And my specific question is the number of outstanding appeals at Caranua, the length of time those appeals are outstanding. I'd like clarification on the nature of the delay in relation to the High Court action. And is it because Caranua are not dealing with appeals because there is a High Court action in relation to a specific issue? Is it because the appeals officer has refused to deal with them? Or is it because the decisions are made and Caranua is using a blanket decision not to deal with it? I would also like you to clarify the correspondence that is in existence telling the clients of Caranua what's happening, and particularly in relation to the appeal process.
The Residential Institution Statutory Fund Act of 2012 provides for the appointment of suitably qualified persons who will consider appeals made by persons against decisions of Caranua. As I explained to the Deputy in response to a question of 25th of October, I appointed 2 new appeals officers there, having been one up to that. The 2012 Act provides that appeals officers shall be independent in the performance of their functions. While my department provides administrative support to the appeals officers, I have no role in relation to individual appeals or the management of appeals generally. It is a matter for the appeals officer to plan their work as they see fit, having regard to all relevant considerations. I am advised that there are currently 57 cases outstanding with the appeals officers. That's halved since I appointed the 2 officers. So that's, there are 7 cases active less than 1 month, 22 cases active between 1 and 3 months, 17 cases between 3 and 6 months, 1 case between 9 and 12 months, and 4 cases over 12 months. I am aware that the initiation of legal action by Caranua has meant a number of cases have been held by the appeals officers pending resolution of the matter. I understand that some 12 cases are involved. I understand also that a number of new appeal cases that raise similar issues are waiting responses from Caranua. The 2012 Act provides that a person affected by a decision of an appeals officer, including Caranua itself, may appeal that decision to the High Court on a point of law. I am aware that one such case has been initiated by Caranua and is currently before the High Court. In the circumstances, it wouldn't be appropriate for me to comment further.
And thank you for confirming that the number of cases outstanding has reduced. In fact, in June there was 148 cases outstanding. By October there were 76, and now we have 57 cases. However, I would ask you to clarify what is happening in relation to the High Court. I'm not asking you for details. I'm asking you for the status of the proceedings and, more particularly, how it's affecting the outstanding appeals. Now, significantly, there has been no report by the appeals officer. In a response to a question, you told me that was going to be published shortly. So we have no report to look at in relation to the appeals for 16. Can you please clarify why that hasn't been published? In addition, I have the 15 report before me. And all of the appeals were dealt with in that year, and there was no cases going to the High Court. And specifically, the appeals officer pointed out that there was a serious deficit in relation to the notification of decisions. Now, I asked you in today's question, what notification has been given to the clients of Caranua in relation to their cases and the High Court action? How has it been spelt out for them what's happening? Thank you.
1 minute, Minister.
Yeah, well, I understand, as I said in the reply, that both an individual and Caranua have the right to appeal a decision of the appeals officer. A decision was an appeals officer made a decision challenging an approach that Caranua had taken, and I understand they lodged an appeal this year. So they obviously are awaiting the outcome of the decision of the High Court. In terms of the annual report, I'm told that the 2016 annual report was laid before the Houses on the 10th of November in fulfilment of the requirement laid down in the Act. So that is before the Oireachtas, as I understand it.
There are two distinct matters. There's the annual report from Caranua and there's the annual report from the appeals officer. Are you saying that the report from the appeals officer has been laid before the Oireachtas and is now available for us? Because I haven't seen it, of the appeals officer, in relation to that. In relation to the High Court action, I really would like some clarity. At this point, I don't know if Caranua is bringing the case or if the independent appeals officer is bringing the case. And this is really a sorry state of affairs, which reflects, I'm afraid, on Caranua and on the department. The amount of outstanding appeals, while I welcome the fact that it's reduced and I welcome the fact that there are 2 appeals officers, we have appeals waiting an extraordinary length of time. And my point, and I'm asking again, the decisions, this is where there's a huge defect. Decisions are not being notified in writing. The appeals officer in his 2015 report said, I cannot deal with an appeal if there is no written decision. We highlighted this at the public accounts and it was highlighted at the Education Committee as well. How many times does it have to be highlighted to ensure that the most basic and fundamental requirement of due process, a written letter in relation to a decision, is done? Thanks.
Final response.
I understand that report is lodged, as I say, the 10th of November. That's by the appeals officer, the outgoing appeals officer, Patrick Whelan. Since then, obviously, I've appointed 2 appeals officers, and as the Deputy has acknowledged, that has helped to clear the backlog. The appeal is, as I understand it, is by Caranua on a point of law, as they're entitled to do. Like, they're entirely independent. It's not. I'm not party to why they've made that decision. But that has meant that there are 12 cases held up, and there are other cases that are obviously challenging the same point, potentially held up as well. Well, I'll get back to the Deputy on that. I mean, I haven't got a supplementary on the issue of where written decisions, but I'll get back to the Deputy on that.
Just before